Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm TJ Jones, and welcome to another edition of the TJ Knows Wrestling Podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And as usual, I have my nephew with me. I have Kaylin with me to do the show. What's going on, Kaylin? Hey, I'm doing all right, man. I'm just here to talk about some wrestling, man. I'm excited to talk about wrestling with you. And I want to thank everybody for checking out the TJ Knows Wrestling Podcast. And we're going to be talking about WrestleMania. We're going to be talking about WrestleMania, the aftermath of WrestleMania, and we're going to be talking about some of the releases that took place after WrestleMania. Some well-known stars have to be looking for a new job. But let's talk about WrestleMania 37. It was exciting. It was 2 nights for the second year in a row. The WWE decided to break WrestleMania down into 2 nights. So, Kaylin, what do you think about WrestleMania, man, being 2 nights?
I think it's better, but it doesn't have to be an all-day thing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it shouldn't be an all-day thing. And, I had an opportunity to go to WrestleMania 3 times about that. And one thing, I enjoyed the whole process. Like, I enjoyed everything about WrestleMania, but what I didn't enjoy was how long it was, man. Like, it was like a million gazillion years, it felt like, and by the time you get out of there, it's like, 1 o'clock in the morning. So that's a very, very long time to be waiting waiting for a wrestling event to be over. You don't want to be happy that it started and happy that it's over. So I did like the fact that it was 2 nights, but we're going to go ahead and talk about night 1, Kaylin, and we're going to talk about, what was the best match of night 1. And I'll go ahead and start with you. What was your favorite match of WrestleMania on the first night? Now, they had quite a few. They had Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley. You had Seth Rollins against Cesaro. You had the women's tag team turmoil match. And, of course, you had the Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks match, on top of some other matches as well. But those were the matches that stood out. Out of those matches on the first night, what match was mostly exciting to you and why?
My favorite match was the New Day versus AJ Styles and Omas.
Okay. All right. I didn't even mention that match. I completely forgot about it. But I thought it was an exciting match, man. It was the first time we actually got an opportunity to see Omas in an actual match, So that's something that that's something I feel like was very, very exciting, to see Omas. What do you think? What do you think about Omas in his first match?
I think he's a really good wrestler.
Okay, so you were excited to see him.
Actually, a good wrestler.
Yeah, I think he was an exciting wrestler as well. Kaylin, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let you leave, and then I want you to dial back in, okay? Because it's a delay every time you speak, okay? So I'm gonna let you log out and then just log right back in, okay? All right, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties right there with Kaylin, but I completely forgot about the Omas match. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I wasn't a real big fan of the match. I'm not gonna lie to you about that. AJ Styles, we all know what AJ Styles can bring to the table. We know AJ Styles is an incredible athlete. I just didn't like the fact how they had the New Day beating up on AJ Styles, like AJ Styles just your classic jobber or something like that. AJ Styles is a multi-time world champion. He has had every championship in WWE, every last one of them, and they had him out here like he was just a straight-up jobber. I didn't really care for that. Although Omas can get a hot tag and just destroy the New Day. So I was definitely not a fan of that at all. Okay, but we got Kaylin back. Kaylin, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, that's a little bit of a delay, but we'll work through it, man. What do you think? What did you like mostly about the Omas match? What do you like about that?
Well, I like my favorite part of that match is when the New Day was trying to keep AJ Styles from getting to Omas.
Okay. All right. So I mean, I like the kind of compelling part of that, right? But I have to say, Kaylin, I wasn't really a fan of watching AJ Styles, a world class athlete, a world champion. Like, I just feel like the New Day. I feel like the New Day. No disrespect to them. I just feel like if AJ Styles was to battle the New Day, he should be able to get more offense on the New Day. And I mean, but at the same time, it did make you excited to see Omas actually come into the match. But I thought it was an okay match. I wasn't really a big fan of it. I think that they could have did more with Omas. I think that they really didn't show the type of monster he can be. And you can tell like he was kind of nervous in the match. I can tell like he was extremely nervous in this match. But I mean, they did win a tag team championship. So what do you think about Omas and AJ Styles being the tag team champions on Raw? What do you think about that? Well, once again, with Kayla, we're dealing with some technical difficulties once again, but hopefully we can get it together, man. Once again, I wasn't a fan of this match. I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I'm excited that Omar's got an opportunity to get into the match, you know what I'm saying? And us to see what he can do, but just wasn't really a fan of it at all. Just wasn't. Just was not. Jerry says, I love that background of Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. Well, Jerry, to me, these two women, these two individuals right here stole the show on night one. You know what I'm saying? If I can pick a match, the most exciting match for me would be this match right here. Okay. Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks. Number one, anytime you get moments in wrestling that are genuine and real, you have an appreciation for it. Like, I think some of the best part of night one was when they had a rain delay and they were like scrimmaging through the back, trying to get everything together. And they started to like do interviews, right? And you know that these interviews were kind of like impromptu because they were just trying to fill time. And, they went to like Drew McIntyre and they went to John Morrison and they went to Kevin Owens. You know what I'm saying? Like it was exciting. You know what I'm saying? It was exciting to see these guys, you know what I'm saying? Like really go off the cuff and really talk about their match and this experience from an organic perspective. Not something that was written down for them, not something that was scripted. None of that stuff right there. I feel like it was mostly exciting. And then in the main event, when those two were introduced and they standing in the middle of the ring, you can see Bianca Belair overcome with emotion. Like you can see her crying. Like you can see, well, she was holding back the tears. You can tell that she wanted to cry. And Sasha Banks, you can tell like she was smiling. It was a great moment. And they kind of, held it in. Some people felt like this was, taken away from the match. But I just feel like this, man. Moments like this, when they're organic and real, I can accept. And then you have those people out there that are true wrestling fans or so-called true wrestling fans that's never happy with absolutely anything. They want to whine and boo-hoo and cry and you know what I'm saying, and do all these other things. Anytime, you know what I'm saying, something happened, they want to critique it and say something negative about it, which I don't understand. I thought it was a good moment. And I definitely thought it was a good match. Okay. Going to bring Kaylin back. Hopefully we fix the issues there with Kaylin. But yeah, man, the match with Bianca Belair, you know what I'm saying? I felt like it was one heck of a match. Sasha Banks, you got to give credit where credit is due. Anytime you have a classic match, I know sometimes, the person that wins actually gets all the credit and stuff like that. Everybody's excited about, them winning a match. But it takes two to tango. It takes two to make a match a classic, right? And Sasha Banks did an outstanding job allowing Bianca Belair to show her strength, to show her ability, to show what she can do inside of the ring. And Bianca Belair, really won this championship and left this match as a certified monster. I even made a comment on social media. I said that I feel like Bianca Belair is almost like a female Brock Lesnar. I mean, she had freakish strength, you know what I'm saying, more than any female superstar I've ever seen since China. I mean, you got to really go back. I mean, they had people like, you know, like Beth Phoenix that they tried to hype up, you know what I'm saying, being this super strong woman and all that kind of stuff. And she was, but Bianca Belair is like on a whole different level, man. She's up here like slamming, you know what I'm saying, Otis and carrying Otis over her shoulders and stuff like that. Otis is a 300+ pound individual. So Sasha Banks did an outstanding job, you know, really putting her out there, you know what I'm saying, like really, you know, selling for her and making her look believable. I like the fact that how they used Bianca Belair's hair throughout the match to build up to the frustration of the big hair whip across the chest or across the stomach of Sasha Banks in order for her to win the match. I like all of that stuff, man. It was a classic, well drawn out match, and I had an appreciation for it. I thought it was one of the best matches of WrestleMania. To me, it was the best match of WrestleMania. Also, a match that stood out to me was the Cesaro match. The Cesaro match versus Seth Rollins. I was happy to see Cesaro finally get some shine. We know that Cesaro has been he's been one of the best superstars in WWE. He has been the absolute best when it comes to technical wrestling, catches can type wrestling. We know for a fact that this guy is one of the best. And finally, you know, so he got an opportunity to show everybody what he had, you know, against a guy like Seth Rollins. And you can tell Seth Rollins was really trying to do his best to try to elevate Cesaro. And you leave the match believing that Cesaro is a contender. And this is something that I am glad WWE is doing. Now, the only problem that I have with this is we know that Cesaro signed that new contract. And we know sometimes, you know, in order for WWE to get these guys to sign contracts, they make all these promises to these guys and tell them, okay, we're going to shoot you to the moon. We're going to put the strap on you, all this stuff, this, that, and the third. So I'm hoping that this is just not a product of him signing a new contract and he just go back to the back of the line being somebody's tag team partner. Cesaro deserves a shot at the championship. Cesaro deserves to be built up to possibly be an opponent for Roman Reigns, whether it's at one of your pay-per-views in upcoming future or the pay-per-view of the SummerSlam. I would love to see that. Let me see what you all have to say. Jared says Bad Bunny amazed me. Yeah, Bad Bunny did an outstanding job. Some people say that he was the best guest wrestler in WWE history, you know, to ever wrestle a match. I really have to go back and really think about a superstar who stood out like he did. I mean, but everybody's talking about how committed Bad Bunny was. You know, Bad Bunny, he put a lot of the things that he had, a lot of his obligations on hold in order for him to go to the performance center and perform, you know what I'm saying, and try to learn the craft. People like Randy Orton gave him mad props. Randy Orton was talking about how Bad Bunny was in the back working, trying to learn how to bump, trying to learn how to do different moves in order for him to put on a star-studded performance. He talked about how much he appreciates Bad Bunny putting his best foot forward, man, and doing everything he can to try to, you know, show respect for the business. So with that, he won the respect of a lot of superstars, and that's what you want to hear, man. You know, a lot of these movie stars, they come in, you know, they think about, okay, I'm just going to get the bag, and they really don't take it serious. They look at wrestling, oh, it's just that fake stuff. But Bad Bunny really grew up as a wrestling fan, and it was a lifelong dream for him to perform in the ring. And you have a lot of people that are excited about Bad Bunny, maybe him coming back in the future and performing. And you also got to give credit to The Miz and John Morrison, man, because once again, it takes two to tango. And in this case, it took three, you know, and they really did an outstanding job trying to elevate this guy, you know, and trying to make this guy look credible. All right, we got Kaylin back. Kaylin, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you better now.
Okay, all right, that's good, man. Look, it's fine. We'll work on the green screen and everything else in the future, okay? We're just glad that we got you back, all right? So anyway, man, we're talking about WrestleMania on the first night. We're going to backtrack. I'll give you an opportunity to answer the question about Omas and AJ Styles winning the tag team championship. What do you feel about that, man?
I really don't. I don't know. Yeah. I feel the match versus it was a good match.
Yeah. So are you happy? So you don't know if you're happy if they're the tag team champions or not?
Not happy.
You not happy?
I'm not.
Why not? Why are you not happy?
I feel like the New Day should have won.
Okay. So you're a New Day fan?
Yeah.
Okay. You gonna New Day rocks? New Day rocks. New Day rocks. Yeah, man. I'm a New Day fan myself, but you know, Kayla, I mean, they won the championship more times than any other tag team in WWE history. You know, it was about time to see a new tag team. And you know, Omas, we didn't know what he can do. So I'm interested to see what he would be like as a tag team champion with AJ Styles. Man, I think, you know, AJ Styles being one of the best wrestlers in the business, and you combine that with a 7'2", 300+ pound man, they may be unstoppable, man. They may be unstoppable. I can't see anybody beating them no time soon. You know, so and we also Kaylin, we talked about Bad Bunny. What do you think about Bad Bunny performance at WrestleMania? Did you like his performance?
Yeah, but I wasn't expecting him to team up with Damian Priest.
Yeah, that definitely was a surprise. But you know, but when you look at it though, Kaylin, Bad Bunny wrestled most of the match. You know, like it wasn't like it was just Damian Priest taking over and he just came in. I mean, he wrestled the majority of the match, and that's why a lot of people are going crazy right now about his performance, because everybody was so excited, you know, to see him perform. So, but overall, what do you think about him as a wrestler? Do you think he's a good wrestler? Do you think he did a good job?
Yeah. And I feel like he can win more matches.
Yeah. I mean that well, what they call it a Canadian destroyer. That flip power driver that he did on the outside. I mean, that was pretty cool, man. I didn't think he was gonna pull that off. What do you think about that move? Did you like it?
Yeah, I liked it.
Oh man, that was awesome. That was awesome right there. I mean, you could see the Miz, like he just couldn't believe what he saw. When he hit the move on John Morrison, it's like, I can't believe he did that. He was all shocked, and even Damian Priest was shocked, man. It was like, I can't believe he pulled it off. But I thought that was a great match, man. I thought that was a good match. It was probably, to me, it was the second best match of the first night. It definitely was. What do you think about Cesaro and Seth Rollins? What do you think about that match?
I loved it. I liked it.
Okay. Were you happy Cesaro won?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you a Cesaro fan? You like Cesaro as a wrestler? Or what do you think about Cesaro?
No, not really.
Oh, no. Come on now. No. You got to like Cesaro, man. Cesaro is, man, he's so talented, man. He's a. Do you like Seth Rollins? Are you a Seth Rollins fan?
Yeah, I like to Seth Rollins back when he won the Shield.
Okay.
That made me start liking Seth Rollins.
Okay. Well, I'm a Seth Rollins fan too. You know, I'm not like, some people don't like Seth Rollins because they think he's a little bit annoying, but I think Seth Rollins is like really good. Like, I think his best run to me is when he was the Intercontinental Champion and he was having all these great matches on Monday Night Raw. And I think that's probably was like his best run. And then, I don't know, it's just Seth Rollins, he starts to hit like a stride, right? Everybody starts cheering for him. And then all of a sudden, you know, people just kind of sour on him. But I think he's a good wrestler. I like both of these guys. I'm just happy Cesaro won because Cesaro been in WWE Kaylin for a long time, man. And he never really had a championship. That was his first singles match at WrestleMania. He never had a singles match. He never had a one-on-one match at WrestleMania. So that was good to see to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another match on the first night, I want to make sure that we talk about this one, is the Bianca Belair Sasha Banks match. Now, I talked about it like when you was fixing your microphone. But what do you think about Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks match? What do you like about that?
I think that was a pretty good match.
Mm-hmm. What do you like most about it? Did you like did you like Bianca Belair? You know, I mean, how strong she was. Did you like how Sasha? You know what I'm saying? Like Sasha in the match. Like what made you really like this match?
I really liked it. Well, I until I liked the match really until Bianca made that flip onto and Charlotte kicked out. I mean, Sasha kicked out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So you're talking about the 450 splash. Okay, when she went to the top rope and
Yeah.
she did a double front flip, which called the 450, and she kicked out. Yeah, I think to me the best part of the match was when Bianca Belair, when Sasha Banks died from the outside. Right, she died from the ring to the outside, and Bianca Belair caught her and lifted her above her head and walked her all the way back into the ring, up the stairs, and threw her back in the ring. I thought that was pretty cool, man, because it showed how strong she is, man. Because he always talk about how she the EST of WWE. I think we have to say she the strongest, because I mean, I know some guys, you know what I'm saying, probably could do that.
I guess the new top. I guess she could be the new show off.
Oh yeah, she definitely can, man. Man, she reminds me. To me, she reminds me of Brock Lesnar. She's like a female Brock Lesnar. How Brock Lesnar was when he first came in WWE when he was young. I mean, he was like freakishly strong, man, and like he was doing all these cool moves. So she reminds me a lot of them. But I was glad she won the SmackDown Women's Championship because that was her first ever championship in WWE. That includes NXT. She never won an NXT championship. She was close, but she never won it. So I was excited to see that, and you can tell it meant a lot to her. Like when she won, she was crying. She was overcome with emotion. So I mean, that was good to see. That was definitely nice to see her, you know, actually win her first championship and be the main event on the first night at WrestleMania.
Yeah. But can we go like I mean before this has to do with WrestleMania, but before WrestleMania, Sami Zayn's theory actually he brought Logan Paul to WWE.
Yeah.
Really exciting.
So you like the Logan Paul dynamic. Hey, you want to speak into your mic. You sound like you're going in and out. Okay.
Okay.
All right, because it sounds like you're going in and out. But you said Logan Paul, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That was exciting. You know, Logan Paul. You know, he's a big YouTube superstar. A lot of people know who he is. Did you know who Logan Paul was before he came to WWE?
Yeah.
All right. Did you follow him on YouTube? What do you think about him?
Yeah, I think he's a good YouTuber.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I never seen like I remember his brother, you know, because his brother got into a boxing match and knocked the guy out. I mean, I know his brother, you know what I'm saying? Jake, right? Jake Paul?
Yeah.
Okay, but Logan Paul, I'm not really too familiar with him. You know, I know that he's a big YouTube star. It was good to see, you know, anytime like you see like celebrities and stars coming to WWE, always exciting to see them actually, you know, come to WWE. That's pretty cool, man. So that he was a part of the second night of WrestleMania. You know, he was a part of the second night, which we can talk about right now, unless you want to talk about any other matches that stood out to you on the first night.
No.
Oh, okay, well we'll move on. We'll move on to the second night, but let's see what everybody got to say. We got some people in the chat. Damien says, believe it or not, OG, I really never been a fan of the New Day. Just don't like the gimmick. So some people don't like New Day. I mean, I'm a New Day fan. I got a t-shirt, you know. I was excited. Like I remember when I went to WrestleMania 32, I purchased a New Day t-shirt. I remember them coming out the big old box of Booty-O's. You know, I was excited about that. You know, like I was excited to see these guys. So Jerry says Alexa Bliss was why the Orton or Wyatt match happened. I didn't really care for that. I wasn't really a fan of the whole, you know, Alexa Bliss thing. We'll get into that. That's night two. Been a fan of the Miz. Dude really has awesome mic skills. Yeah, the Miz is very underrated, you know, as a superstar. I don't understand why people don't like him that much. I really don't. BNG Breakdown Podcast says W and giving a shout out to Jerry. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna bring Kaylin back. Kaylin, we're talking about night number 2 of WrestleMania. Now, night number 2 of WrestleMania, it opened up with a much anticipated match. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, finally coming back for the first time since SummerSlam, taking on Randy Orton. Now, we see at the beginning of the match, we see the Fiend. We see him on camera. He's all burnt up and stuff like that. He walks into this portal, and all of a sudden he's, you know what I'm saying, he's not the burnt Fiend anymore. He's his regular self. And then all of a sudden we see this big, huge Jack in the Box. And we see Alexa Bliss cranking up Jack in the Box, and all of a sudden the Fiend comes out of the Jack in the Box, stands up there, and he jumps off of the Jack in the Box and lands on Randy Orton, and here we go. So we all thought, well, I don't want to say we all, but I thought I thought the Fiend was going to win this match. But all of a sudden Alexa Bliss comes out of the Jack in the Box dressed in all black, and the same type of black substance that was in the mouth of Randy Orton was dripping down the face of Alexa Bliss. It distracted the Fiend, and Randy Orton hits him with the RKO. 1, 2, 3, and it's over. Kaylin, what's going on, man? What happened? Why did the Fiend lose this match, man? What happened?
I mean, I couldn't say I couldn't say I wasn't. I couldn't say. I felt like Randy Orton was going to win the match anyway.
I didn't. I didn't think so. Like, I've never seen this before, Kaylin. Like, okay, so the closest wrestler I can think of to the Fiend is the Undertaker, right? The Undertaker, let's just say, at Survivor Series. Survivor Series happens in November, right? So Undertaker was in a Buried Alive match. I use this as an example. It's some more homework for you if you didn't see this. The Undertaker was in a match with Kane in a Buried Alive match, right? So Kane ends up winning a match. He buries the Undertaker alive.
Oh, yeah,
okay. So we didn't hear from the Undertaker at all. We didn't hear from him at all, right? This was during the time when he was like riding down on a motorcycle. He lost the match. We didn't hear anything about the Undertaker till WrestleMania. And that's when he transformed from riding on a motorcycle back to being a dead man. And, you know, Kane was in a match. He was like, I can't believe this. I buried you. And they had a really good match, but the Undertaker won. So think about this. Caleb. The Fiend has been his house. Randy Orton done burned the Fiend house down. He done burned him up. and now, you know what I'm saying? Like, he gets burned up. He comes back only to lose to Randy Orton again. This don't make sense to me. You would think, like, all the stuff that Randy Orton has put him through, you would think that the Fiend would actually win the match. I didn't think that Randy Orton was going to win this match, man. I really didn't. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Like, I could not believe that they I don't know. I couldn't believe that the Fiend lost this match. You said you weren't surprised. Why weren't you surprised?
Because I felt like after Alexa Bliss was being this match, I feel like it was going to end eventually because most tag teams break up after a while.
Right.
It wasn't a tag team, but I expected a break up and she was going to distract the Fiend or Randy Orton. For Randy Orton to win. Or it was supposed to be a distraction for Randy Orton, but the Fiend looked instead.
I do agree with you. Most tag teams do break up, but I just never seen it happen the way that the WWE made it happen, or the Fiend. Like, I would have thought like the Fiend and Alexa Bliss would have been working together. And then, you know, as time goes on, then they break up. But it's like they put so much into the story of the Fiend, right? As a fan, like I like Bray Wyatt. You know what I'm saying? I've been a fan of Bray Wyatt. I thought that him getting burnt up, him coming back, he would have defeated Randy Orton, because it was like him getting his revenge on Randy Orton for all the stuff that Randy Orton did to him. You know, burning down his house, burning up Sister Abigail, burning up the Fiend, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have thought that the Fiend would have won this match. It was a shock. That was the shock of the night. It wasn't a matter of if he was going to win to me. It was when and how, but it didn't happen. So that was the first shock of the night for me.
Yeah, but back when you said like the Fiend was similar to the Undertaker, Randy Orton burnt the Undertaker till he wound up coming back.
Yeah, and the Undertaker beat Randy Orton, right? Oh. He beat him at WrestleMania. So that's why I thought the same thing was going to happen, Caleb. That's why I thought, like, usually, like, when guys do such dastardly and mean things, like the guy that they do it to always gets the revenge. And I was shocked. Like he didn't get his revenge. So maybe we're gonna have to wait a little longer for him to get his revenge. I don't know. So that was the first match of the night. All right. Then we got the women's tag team championship match, right? So we didn't talk about this for the first night. Tamina and Natalya end up winning the tag team turmoil match the first night. And then let's back up a little bit too. We forgot one match for the first night. We forgot about Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. We forgot about that match. Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre, we didn't talk about that, it was the first match of the night. So it was for the WWE Championship. You had the almighty Bobby Lashley, who won the WWE Championship on Monday Night Raw. He beat The Miz. He's been carrying the championship since, and he took on Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre only lost the match because he had to go through an elimination chamber. The Miz comes out, cashes in after Drew McIntyre goes through a hellacious match at Elimination Chamber. He ends up winning the WWE Championship, cashes it in, only holds it for 2 weeks, and Bobby Lashley beat him. Now you go to WrestleMania, and you have Bobby Lashley taking on Drew McIntyre, and this was another shock. Bobby Lashley puts Drew McIntyre in the hurt lock, and he makes him pass out and retains the WWE Championship. Were you surprised that Bobby Lashley retained the WWE Championship?
Well, not really, because I feel like Drew McIntyre has been really good for a while.
He has been good for a while, but what about Bobby Lashley, man? Bobby Lashley been wrestling for about 17 years. He left WWE. He went to like wrestling companies like TNA, and he won a championship there. He comes back to the WWE. He gets with MVP. They join together. They start the Hurt Business, and he ends up winning the WWE Championship. So what do you think about Bobby Lashley? Are you a fan of Bobby Lashley? Are you happy he's the champion? What do you think about Bobby?
I think he's pretty good, but I think he's better with the Hurt Business.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't happy when the Hurt Business broke up. I didn't like that. I thought that they could have kept those guys together. I think that they all should have been champions. I like the fact that Shelton and Cedric were tag team champions and Bobby Lashley was the world champion. I like that. I thought that was a good look. I thought they were the best thing on Monday Night Raw to me. They were the most exciting thing to watch on Monday Night Raw to me. What do you think about the Hurt Business?
I think they're really good.
What was your favorite part of the Hurt Business? What do you like most about the Hurt Business?
I can't actually. Well, I really didn't watch matches with the Hurt Business that much.
Right.
So I can barely talk. I really know a lot about them.
Well, that's fine. I'll tell you a little bit about the Hurt Business. Okay, so it started with MVP and Bobby Lashley, right? Bobby Lashley at this time, this was during the time he was with Lana, and Lana was like his manager or whatever like that. But Bobby was losing matches, And MVP like noticed Bobby Lashley, talking to him in the back, said, "You're not living up to your potential." So Bobby Lashley ended up dumping Lana and joining forces with MVP. So MVP for 1 week, he decided to add Shelton Benjamin to the group. And then, Cedric Alexander and Ricochet was like tagging together, right? And he wanted both of those guys to join the Hurt Business. Ricochet decided not to do it, but Cedric Alexander, losing match after match, decided to align himself with Shelton, Bobby, and MVP. All right. So that's how they all got together. And they were a pretty good tag team, man. They were out there, like always tagging together. They were working together to win matches. They weren't good guys or anything like that, but they were a good team, and for some apparent reason, after Bobby Lashley wins the WWE Championship, they separated. I mean, at one time, they were all champions at one time. They, Sheldon and Cedric were tag team champions. Bobby Lashley was the WWE champion. And MVP, of course, was the manager. But for some reason, like they took the tag team championships off Shelton and Cedric and they separated them. And I'm like, so, I mean, I would have thought Bobby Lashley would have been a strong champion and he would have had his guys with him, to help him win from time to time. But I didn't think that was a good move. I didn't. Me personally, I wasn't mad that Bobby Lashley lost the match. I actually like both of these guys. So I wouldn't have cared either way. If Bobby wouldn't have won, I would have been happy because I like Drew McIntyre. So I think both guys are really good, but I wasn't mad about the Bobby Lashley thing. Not at all. But like I said, we talked about the first night. We forgot to mention that match. Now let's talk about this tag team match. Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax defending their women's tag team championship against Tamina and Natalya. And in this match, Kayla, you had Tamina, who was getting a lot of the buzz from the crowd. People were chanting for Tamina. Seemed like people wanted to see Tamina win this match. And, this would have been the first championship Tamina ever had in WWE. And Tamina has been in WWE for a long time. But they didn't end up getting the job done. Natalya ends up tapping out to Shayna Baszler. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler retained the tag team championships. What did you think about this match? Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler and Natalya and Tamina. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I feel like the team of Nia Jax had others.
Your mic went out. I'm sorry. Your mic went out, man.
Well, I feel like Nia Jax had an advantage because she was bigger. It would be hard to really take her down.
Well, they definitely had an advantage. I mean, Shayna Baszler is really tough, and then you got Nia Jax, like you said, man, who is a force. So it's kind of hard to take her down, but it was pretty cool. Tamina actually body slammed her, so that was pretty cool. Shows how strong Tamina actually is. So, but I like the fact that they retained the championship. They was having like problems as a tag team, but it seems like they're getting those problems together. I think that they can be pretty unstoppable. Shayna Baszler, who is what she calls herself, the submission magician, and then you have Nia Jax, who's the strong one of the group. So I think they have a good combination to be virtually unstoppable. I don't know who's going to beat them. I don't know if they're going to have a tag team come out from NXT. Maybe they, lose to. Well, I can't even say that because now they got an NXT Women's Tag Team Championship. So I don't know who's going to win. I don't know who's going to beat them. But whoever it is, they're going to have a very, very, very tough time doing so.
Yeah. Hey, can we read some comments?
We got here. Go to the comments. Let's see. Damien says, at first, didn't like Seth, but I love the role he's playing now. So you don't like the new Seth Rollins? He's not that bad. I mean, I think he's tacky. I don't think he can dress, but all these weird clothes he's wearing, I'm not a fan. Let's see. B&G Breakdown Podcast says BNG Breakdown Podcast. That's the Black and Gold Podcast. That's Aaron. So shouts out to Aaron, man. Jared says, I watched NXT Tuesday night, watching Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, and Raquel Gonzalez standing in the ring as champions. Raw, NXT, and SmackDown is legendary. Yeah, that was a pretty good moment right there on NXT, man. They basically had their own little, four horsewomen thing going, right? We know the four horsewomen were. They were, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, and Bayley. They were the four horsewomen, right? And now you have Raquel Gonzalez, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair, who came into NXT all together at the same time. So, that was a good look. Good look. It's a new day. Yes, it is. Yeah. Look, 11-time champions. You can't get mad if they lose a match. Can't get mad at that. Not at all. Okay. By far, to me, the best match of the night was Lashley versus McIntyre. Definitely wasn't a bad match. Definitely wasn't a bad match. It was a good match. They really told a good story. You can tell that these guys have wrestled each other before. They had a big feud out in TNA. I remember when both guys were in TNA and they had a little feud going. So you can tell like their chemistry kind of rolled over to allow them to have a good match. Seems like the Hurt Business have new recruits from what I saw on Monday Night Raw. Yeah, but those, basically, would you hire the guy from Retribution? Like, come on, man. They weren't doing nothing for Retribution, so what makes you think they're gonna do anything for the Hurt Business? I'm not a fan of that. So what do you think about? Did you see Monday Night Raw, Kayla?
No.
So you got two members of the Retribution, the tall guys, right? The big tall guys that's in the group with the mask. I can't think of their names. I know one name is Mace. I can't think of what the other guy's name is. But anyway, they end up being part of the Hurt Business. I don't know if they're guys that MVP hired to beat up Drew McIntyre. I don't know what the heck going on with that, but I'm not a fan, man. The only person I would have replaced in the Hurt Business is Shelton Benjamin. No disrespect to Shelton, one of my favorite wrestlers to watch, especially when he was younger. But I would have put Keith Lee in the Hurt Business. I would have put Keith Lee and Cedric Alexander together. So that would have been a really good tag team because Keith Lee is the big, strong guy, and then you have Cedric who can fly all around the place. That's who I would have put in the Hurt Business. I would have put Keith Lee. That would have been my replacement.
Yeah. Cedric can fly all over the place too, but Keith Lee can too. He be flipping too.
Keith Lee can flip and all that stuff, but he's strong too, Kayla. He's much stronger than Cedric is. Like, I know that Keith Lee, he can do those flips, and he's extremely agile for his size. But he brings strength to the group. He'll bring more strength as well as, agility. And then you have Cedric Alexander, who, like I said, is pretty incredible in his own right. I think that they would be a good tag team together. That would be a good tag team and possibly be tag team champions, in my opinion. Jared says, I was really pulling for Carmella and Billie Kay to win, but the Riot Squad eliminated them. Yeah, I think they were just a tag team that they kind of just put together. Vince McMahon likes to put like everybody on the card at WrestleMania so everybody can get paid. And I think that was just one of those cases. And unfortunately, Billie Kay was one of the people that ended up getting released from WWE, this week. So unfortunate. I actually like Billie Kay. I thought she was funny, but her and Peyton Royce, both known as the, Iconics together collectively, they both got released. Samoa Joe got released. Kaylin, what do you think about that? What do you think about the Iconics and people like Samoa Joe getting released?
I feel like Samoa Joe shouldn't have got released because he was pretty good himself.
Yeah, Samoa Joe was a real head scratcher for a lot of people. Like when people didn't see him on Monday Night Raw, people just assumed like he was gonna come back to wrestle, but it wasn't the case. But I tell you this, out of the three people I named, I'm pretty sure all three of them going to end up in AEW. You know, I think Samoa Joe might end up in AEW. I think that Peyton Royce and Billy Kay might end up in AEW because we know that Peyton Royce's husband, Sean Spears, also known as Ty Dillinger in WWE, we know he's in AEW. So would not surprise me at all if Peyton Royce ends up in AEW. And Peyton Royce is a really good wrestler. You know, like she's been asking for a chance on so many occasions, man. So I think she's going to AEW, especially since her husband is there. Let's read some more comments here. Damian talking to Jerry Poor says, thanks, OG. Couldn't figure out the name. Let's see. They are from Retribution. Yeah, I can't think of their names, man. Honestly, they're not that important to me. Damian says, haven't been seeing Keith Lee lately. Dude is talented. Wonder what they didn't have anything for him at Mania. I don't know what's going on. Keith Lee, he got diagnosed with COVID, and the next thing you know, like, you ain't hear from him no more. Like, what happened? What went down? I really don't know. But okay, let's go ahead and get back into WrestleMania, man. We talked about some of the releases. It's unfortunate that you have people that got released. Other people that got released was individuals like Mickey James and Tucker, who was part of Heavy Machinery with Otis, Chelsea Green, who was in NXT, and Kalisto, you know, former United States champion, also part of the Lucha House Party. He's no longer there. But I think some of those guys are going to end up going to AEW or wrestling in some independent circuit. That's one thing now. You know, they got so many different wrestling companies now. It's not like guys are going to be out of work. So I wish them all the best. I think they're going to land on their feet. Yeah, got my mom up here giving a shout out to me, and she's giving a shout out to you too, Kaylin. So, but let's go ahead. Let's talk about WrestleMania. All right, let's get back to WrestleMania. All right, so we talked about night one. We talked about the Fiend and Randy Orton. We talked about the women's tag team match, and now we talk about a match that you brought up earlier in the show, which is Sami Zayn against Kevin Owens with Logan Paul in the corner of Sami Zayn. Now, Sami Zayn, I don't know what happened, Kevin. It's like he lost his mind or something like that. They talk about all these conspiracy theories and how this big, huge conspiracy is happening to him. And ever since he lost the Intercontinental Championship, the Big E, and I can't see the conspiracy. I don't know if you can see the conspiracy. I don't understand. It just seemed like he just lost to me. Do you see a conspiracy or anything like that with Sami Zayn?
No.
He pretty much just lost the match, right? Hey, come on, man. You lost. It's over with. All right. So anyway, he wrestles Kevin Owens. These two guys, you know, are really good friends. They've been friends for almost 20 years. And they have really good chemistry. They had really good matches back in NXT. They had a really good match at a pay-per-view. I want to say Battleground a couple of years back. These guys have wrestled all over the globe. And finally, they get to wrestle on the grandest stage in the mall. And they had a really solid match, man. Two guys that really know each other, really know their way around the ring. You got Kevin Owens getting a victory off a stunner, okay? Stunning Sami Zayn, for the 1, 2, 3. Then you see Logan Paul get into the ring after Sami Zayn loses, and he starts to, like, kind of butt up to Kevin Owens. Like, he wants to roll with Kevin Owens now that Sami Zayn lost the match. So Sami Zayn's upset, saying, you know, you're my guest. Logan Paul pushes him down, you know, and now he wants to be with Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens hits him with the stunner, and and he ends up celebrating after the match. Kaylin, Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. What do you think about this match?
I mean, I feel like Kevin Owens had an opportunity to actually win this.
I thought, look, I'm a Kevin Owens fan, but I really thought Sami Zayn was going to win this match. It was close. It was close, man. It was really, really close. And I thought for a fact, well, I didn't think he was going to lose the match. I just thought that Logan Paul was probably going to cause him to lose the match. I didn't think that he was just going to lose to Kevin Owens clean as a whistle in the middle of the ring like that. You know, what do you think about Logan Paul? What do you think about Logan Paul turning his back on him? That's what I didn't understand. What do you think about that? Hold on 1 second. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I feel like once again, like I feel like they could have been a tag team, but since Sami Zayn was being so pushy to Logan Paul, I feel like Logan Paul he was gonna betray him because but after he had him on WWE, he flew to where Logan Paul lives. They went to their boxer training ring with him. He was there with Jake Paul, and he was talking to him.
Yeah. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like, he walks out the back door, right? And he knocks on the door, and a big bouncer guy comes to the door and don't want to let him in. So it just seems like to me like he was kind of annoying Logan Paul, but Logan Paul learned, man. You gotta roll with the guy you came in there with. You can't just roll from one guy to another. So I think he deserved that stunner, in my opinion. I think he deserved it. All right. Go back to it. Damien says, I'd like Sami Zayn, OG. Do really be having me laughing. Yeah, Sami Zayn is hilarious, man. And not to mention he's really good in the ring, too. He's funny. I like him. I think that he's a little out there, but I like him. Then we had the Intercontinental Championship match. We had Big E taking on Apollo Crews, man. Now, this match right here was a couple months in the making. We know that Apollo Crews dropped some steel stairs on Big E, put Big E in the hospital. Big E was out of action for a couple weeks. Big E comes back, challenged him to a match at Fastlane for the Intercontinental Championship. Big E actually ends up winning that match, end up getting attacked right after the match by Apollo. Apollo puts him in a couple Olympic slams, a move that was made famous by Kurt Angle. They actually had a big, I think I want to say 6-man tag match on SmackDown, and Apollo actually pinned Big E in the middle of the ring. And this time they had themselves an African drum fight for the Intercontinental Championship match. Now, I have to say I didn't know what this match was, but it seemed like to me it was just a hardcore match with a bunch of drums around it. I didn't see the drums being used. All I seen was kendo sticks and some steel stairs. But what happened was we had some interference. We had a guy, from NXT come in and attack Big E to allow Apollo Crews to get the victory. And now we have a new Intercontinental Champion in Apollo Crews. Now, Kalen, Apollo Crews, I mean, he's been around WWE for a long time. Never really got his opportunity. He gets an opportunity against Big E, who has been on a roll. But what are your thoughts on Apollo Crews and this whole match? What do you think about it?
Well, I think it was a good match. And speak of Intercontinental Champion, hold up. I got mine right here.
So, Kaylin, what do you think about the Intercontinental Championship match, man? Overall, man, you thought it was a good match, but were you happy? Were you happy to see Apollo Crews as the Intercontinental Champion?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I was happy. I was happy to see Apollo win the Intercontinental Championship because here's a guy that has a lot of talent, but it seems like to me like he never really got the opportunity. And I feel like both guys are going to win in this regard because Big E being an Intercontinental Champion, having good matches, I feel like he even though he lost, he can move up the ranks and possibly challenge Roman Reigns in the future, right? I feel like that would be, that's that's where he's going. And now you have Apollo Crews, who I feel like is going to be the Intercontinental Champion for quite some time. So I wasn't mad to see You know what I'm saying? I wasn't mad to see him actually win the match at Apollo Crews. And I think that both guys end up winning the match. But what do you think about Big E? What do you think about when Big E was the Intercontinental Champion? Did you like Big E?
Yeah, but I feel like Big E, Big E's back to being good. But I feel like Big E was better back before he was with the New Day. When he was back when Dolph Ziggler and AJ Lee.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's when he was fresh out of NXT. I think he was the former NXT champion, and he was going by the name of Big E Langston, you know. And I mean, he really had a good run. But here's the thing: I think WWE didn't really know what to do with him, you know, when because he did win the Intercontinental Championship, but before he joined the New Day, I mean, he was just kind of in the back. And then finally, like when he got with Xavier Woods and Kofi, his career took off. I mean, those guys, like, man, sold a bunch of merchandise. They were multi-time tag team champions. So I like the fact that he drifted off on his own. I think he can stand on his own. I just think that you need to give him better opportunities. You give him better opportunities to take on a larger talent like a Seth Rollins, like a Roman Reigns, like a Jey Uso. Put him in matches like with those guys and see what he does. I feel like he will excel. You know, I think that he is close to being one of those contenders for the WWE Universal Championship. I really do.
Yeah, but back, like I feel like they actually. This had nothing to do with WrestleMania. This had to do something with Omas. I feel like Omas, they gonna make Omas like a monster. And then I feel like they're going to give him a match against a Braun Strowman, and they're going to let Braun Strowman lose or almost lose. And and I feel like after Omos starts destroying everybody else, I feel like Big Show gonna come back. Even though he went to AEW, I feel like he's going to come back and um try to defeat Omos because Big Show is second closest to he's tall like a mouse, but Omos is a little taller. That's why I feel like it could happen.
Yeah, well, look, you want to make sure that you put Omas in the ring with, you know, some of those big, strong guys. I can't. I agree with you. I definitely can see him having a feud with Braun Strowman. I can see that. The Big Show thing, I'm not sure because Big Show signed maybe a 2-year contract. Okay, so Omar's got to really be wrecking shop for 2 years. Okay, but I can see the Big Show coming back, and if Omas is, you know, the next big thing, the next big giant of WWE, because you know they're looking for him. They're looking for the next big giant. You know, they had one in every generation. You know, they had Andre the Giant. Then you had the Big Show and Kane and Undertaker and even a great Khali. And now you have a guy in Omas who I feel like could be that next generation guy. I mean, I think that he needs a little bit more practice with wrestling, but I think he can be that guy that everybody wants him to be. And if that happens, you know, years down the line, maybe Big Show look at that and be like, you know what I'm saying? Put me in a WrestleMania match against Omas. Let's see what happens. So that would be interesting down the line to see, you know, to see Omas take on a Big Show. Could be like what they call a passing of the torch match when a guy is up there in age, you know, he takes on a young guy. And, you know, I mean, you never know. All right. But that is interesting to see. That would be interesting to see two big guys like that.
Yeah, but one more thing before we start talking about back to WrestleMania, I got something I want to show everybody is in the watching the stream at the end.
You got to stay to the end to make sure that you see what Kaylin got cooking. I'm actually in between like muting myself and not muting myself because every time you talk and I talk, you know, it starts skipping every time you talk. So I have to mute myself in order for you not to skip, you know. So, but anyway, everybody stay to the end to see what Kaylin got cooking up. All right. All right, now we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. Get back to WrestleMania. Get back to WrestleMania. Talk a little bit about that. Let's go ahead and talk about. I'm trying to see if they had anything else that was worth mentioning. I guess you can talk about the Matt Riddle Sheamus match. Sheamus becomes the Intercontinental Champion. You know that was pretty cool. What do you think about that match? Sheamus versus Riddle.
I feel like that's well. I feel like that. I like that match. I feel like it'll be a good. It was a good match.
Yeah, I think people don't really give Riddle a fair shake. I don't think people know how tough that guy is. He's extremely tough, and I like him a lot. You know, I like Riddle. I like Sheamus too. I think Sheamus is a really tough guy. So I think Sheamus deserves to be the United States champion. I think he's held every championship for the exception of the Intercontinental Championship. So Sheamus, man, Sheamus is the most underrated wrestler. I mean, he's done everything. He's won World Championship, WWE Championship. He's won Money in the Bank. He's won the Royal Rumble. It's not much Sheamus hasn't done. Like, he's even won King of the Ring. So he's had a great career. Definitely a Hall of Fame. Definitely a Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I feel like he's in the Hall of Fame in the year 2022 or 2023.
Yeah, I think I think he still has a couple more years in him. I don't know if it'll be like in the next couple of years, but I'll probably have to say probably like about 2028, 2029, because he is he's getting up there. He's like, I want to say he in his 40s now. I want to say that. I want to say he's like, so, I mean, he's getting up there. So he's probably thinking about shutting it down. Well, let's go ahead and talk about the main event, man. Let's talk about the main event. Triple threat match for the Universal Championship. We got Edge coming back after 10 years. Main event, 10 years to the day that he announced his retirement. And you have Daniel Bryan, who's also a success story. We know Daniel Bryan had to retire. And then you have the head of the table, the tribal chief, also a guy who dealt with some adversity. We know he was diagnosed with cancer and he came back. So in that regard, you have three guys, man, that we really didn't know if they were going to be able to wrestle again. And now these guys are in the main event of WrestleMania. But this is a triple threat match, man. So very exciting match. You know, it started off very hard hitting. Jey Uso ended up being involved in the match really early. Ends up getting taken out by Edge. You know, referees had to help him to the back. There was a lot going on in this match. You know, Daniel Bryan flying all over the place. You know, getting slammed through a table by Roman Reigns. Edge out there trying to give everybody the concerto. You know, end up giving a crossface to Roman Reigns with the bar of the chair in his mouth. And then Daniel Bryan catches Roman Reigns' other arm. They're both trying to get Roman to tap out, and they're kicking each other. All of a sudden, you know, Edge ends up giving Daniel Bryan a concerto from the back. Out comes Jey Uso again. You know, I mean, I guess like the beating that he took wasn't good enough. He comes out there, distracts Edge. Edge ends up getting speared by Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns hits Edge with the concerto. For those that don't know what a concerto is, it's when an opponent is lying down on the ground. The wrestler puts a chair underneath the head of the opponent, and he grabs the chair and just hits him over the head with it. So he ends up giving Roman a concerto, and Roman stacks Daniel Bryan and Edge on top of each other for the 1, 2, 3 to retain the Universal Championship. Now, Kaylin, we talked about Roman Reigns before. You said that you used to like Roman Reigns, but not anymore. But what do you think about this match, man? What do you think about this match? Did you like the match, and what was the best part of this match to you?
That match was so good. Like I was kind of mad that it was a triple threat, but after a while, I started to actually kind of like the match, and that just because of that match, it started making me like Roman Reigns a little more.
Yeah, let's backtrack here. You said that you weren't a fan of it being a triple threat match. So What kind of match did you want? I mean, were you mad that Daniel Bryan got involved, or did you want to just see Roman and Daniel, or did you just want to see Roman and Edge? What's going on with that?
I just wanted to see Roman and Edge.
I can understand that, man. Edge wins the Royal Rumble, comes in at number 1, beats 29 other guys, end up winning. You know what I'm saying? I can understand that. But a lot of people thought that Daniel Bryan, this could possibly be Daniel Bryan's last WrestleMania. And because of that, a lot of people thought that maybe they gave him an opportunity to be in the main event. I don't know, but Daniel Bryan was one of the bright spots in this match. I don't feel like this match would have been as good as it was if Daniel Bryan wasn't in it. Now, I'm happy that Roman won because I think Roman has really been a really strong champion. Like, he's really been putting on – this has been some of his best work that he's done, since he got into WWE. I think that a lot of people are starting to respect him. People that when he used to come out, they used to boo him out of the building. So I think he's winning the respect of everybody in the WWE universe, even though he might be losing some people's respect. But at the same time, man, I enjoyed this match. I'm glad that Roman won. It sets up a lot of things that can go on. If you're watching this on a Friday, SmackDown is about to come on. It sets up a lot of the things that can be going on SmackDown. I mean, we don't know if Edge might come out, challenge, ask Roman for a one-on-one match. He's probably like, it was supposed to be me and you at WrestleMania, not Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan might come out there and talk about the interference. So it's so many things that could happen. But I like this match, and I'm glad that Roman ended up winning in the end. But overall, okay, what do you think about the WrestleMania? The first night, the second night, all together, what do you think about WrestleMania?
The only thing I didn't like about WrestleMania is that it was pirate thing. Everything else, I loved it.
You said the pirate thing?
Yeah. I said the only thing I didn't like about this WrestleMania that it was pirate themed.
So you didn't like the pirate theme of WrestleMania? I mean, look, they did their best. They did their best. I get it. You know what I'm saying? The whole pirate theme there in Tampa, home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They mostly are a pirate themed football team. I get it, but I actually like this WrestleMania. I wouldn't say it was the greatest WrestleMania of all time, but if on a scale of 1 to 10, I would have to give it about a 6.5 or a 7, because there were some matches I could have did without. I could have did without the tag team turmoil match. I feel like they could have did that on SmackDown and just had one match at WrestleMania. Even though the Intercontinental Championship match was exciting, I feel like they should have gave them more time. And as far as the main event, I didn't have a problem with it. I think that Jey Uso got involved way too much. I didn't like that part, but I mean, I understand. But give it about a 6.5 out of 10. What about you? On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give WrestleMania?
I'll give it about a 7.5.
7.5, that's not bad. Okay, but want to say thank you all for checking out the TJ Knows Wrestling podcast. And before we get out of here, Kalen said he had something for everybody. So, Kalen, the floor is yours, man.
Okay.
Okay, he didn't cut the mic off with anticipation. He didn't put the Undertaker. The lights go out. He trying to build up suspense here. Trying to build up the suspense. So we waiting in anticipation. And here we go. What we got? All right, we got the dart. All right, so it looks like you got the Undertaker hood. We got the Undertaker hat on. Okay. All right, so building up the suspense. You got the Undertaker hat on. All right.
Oh, you didn't see. What about the Shane and match?
Oh, Shane and Braun Strowman. Okay. Yeah. What do you think about that? What did you think about the Braun Strowman Shane McMahon match?
It was good. My favorite part of that match though was when he pulled Shane through the cage.
Yeah, that was great right there. When he pulled Shane and he ended up like taking Shane and flipping him off the cage. I mean, that was a huge bump by Shane. How Shane has never really been seriously hurt after all of the pain that he took, and I mean, it's just a shock to me, man. But overall, like I said, man, I still gotta give it a 6.5. Thought it was a good WrestleMania, not great, seen better matches I could have did without. You said about a 7.5. I ain't mad at that score either. But now we look forward to Backlash is the next pay-per-view coming up, and we're definitely going to be breaking that down as the weeks go on, as we figure out what the card is going to look like. This has been the TJ Knows Wrestling Podcast. I want to thank Kaylin for being a part of the TJ Knows Wrestling Podcast. And yeah, me and Kaylin, now we're going to make this a regular thing, man. Kaylin is now a regular here on the TJ Knows Wrestling Podcast, and we're going to be breaking down, talking about some of the best parts and the worst parts of professional wrestling, man. So, Kaylin, got anything to say before we get out of here?
Rest in peace.
Yeah, and on that note, as the lights go out, we want to say thank you all for checking out the TJ Knows Wrestling Podcast. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you check us out, youtube.com, search TJ Knows Wrestling. Also, facebook.com, search TJ Knows Wrestling. And thank you all so much for your time. And all the wrestling fans out there, thank you all so much as well. Till next time, we'll see you down the road.